Pretend when nothing's happened. Hello, everybody.
Well, thank you for that. I'm going to have to get my head together. I'm going to have to have a note and stick it on the wall in front of me. Record the meeting. Thank you. So Ian and Marilyn, we're muting microphones today unless you need to say something. There's been a bit of feedback and crackling on the line, and we thought it was probably better to stay muted until we need to speak, until you've asked a question. So my youngest son and his wife, they're going to have a baby in December, a girl. Voy a tener 6 nietos. I'm going to have 6 grandchildren. I think she's going to be called Anya. Inna, his wife, is Russian, so they want to choose a Russian-sounding name, and the Russians, like the Spanish, like their diminutives. So she'll probably be called Anishka, I suspect. Anyway, we'll find out in a couple of weeks' time. I think they're still a little undecided about names. So that's my family. Diane Shaw, how would you ask me what my sons are called? How would you do that, Diane?
¿Cómo te llama? I don't know.
No. Okay, so how would you ask me, what am I called?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? Yeah. ¿Cómo te llama? Llama is the formal. So if we're asking somebody in a formal situation, we'd say, ¿Cómo se llama? If we're asking in an informal situation, it's llamas, and we also use a different pronoun. So ¿Cómo te llamas? Would be, what's your name? Now, to ask what my sons are called, we start the same way. ¿Cómo se llaman? Llaman is they, plural. So, ¿Cómo se llaman? Tus hijos. Yeah. What do they call themselves? Your sons is the literal translation, but of course don't translate things literally. What are your sons called? ¿Cómo se llaman tus hijos? And of course, the answer is mis hijos se llaman Tom, Sam, y Max. Richard and Maya. Should we do this together? 2 heads are better than 1, aren't they? But don't start arguing about it. How would you ask me what my wife is called? We're saying you need to unmute yourselves. You're effectively saying, what does she call herself, your wife? Yeah.
¿Cómo se llama tu esposa?
Esposa. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Bang on. Perfect. There we go. ¿Cómo se llama tu esposa? So we had a long list of names of different members of the family, which I think I gave you a couple of weeks ago, and hopefully refreshed your memory last week. So that's some of the list there. Let's just go through those. Father, el padre, la madre is mother. Husband could be esposa, Generally marido, el marido. Wife, la esposa. In Spain, a wife was often called mi mujer, my woman. I think that's falling out of use a little now. Spain's becoming a lot less of a macho, male-dominated environment. So la esposa is, we'd never call our wives my woman, would we? Well, maybe we would just before we got a clout round the ear hole. La esposa, mi esposa is better. Son, hijo, daughter, hija. And when we're saying my son, my daughter, it's fine to merge the two together. It's ever so hard to say mi hija. So we tend to say mija or mijo. Brother is hermano, sister hermana. Grandfather, abuelo. Grandmother is abuela. Grandchildren are los nietos, and children, hijos. Grandson, el nieto. Granddaughter, la nieta. Cousin, I can never, I always forget what cousin is. Primo or prima. Los primos would be cousins. Daughter-in-law is la nuera, and son-in-law el yerno. I know one or two of us have got nueras in our family. Nephew, el sobrina, and niece, la sobrina. Aunt is tía, la tía, as in the drink Tía María. Uncle is el tío, as in the drink Tío Pepe. Partner, we're all modern now, we're not always married, are we? Partner, pareja, pareja, my partner. And divorces and marriages coming together. I'm going to just put my phone on mute. I've not remembered to do that again. Just beeped at me. Stepson, hijastro, hijastro. Stepdaughter, hijastra. Stepfather is padrastro, and stepmother is madrastra, madrastra. Mother-in-law is suegra, and father-in-law suegro, el suegro, la suegra. And helpfully, the Spanish have a word for if you're a father-in-law, they have a word for your counterpart. So instead of having to say my son's mother-in-law when I want to refer to Lucia's mother, I can call her name's Nidia. I can call her mi consuegra, and her dad would be mi consuegro. So my consuegra, my with father-in-law. It's quite a good system, and I do like to call Nidia consuegra. It's useful. Okay, so there's all of the family members. What do we do if a family member has died? We could say, mi abuelo está muerto. My grandfather is dead. You could say murió. We're talking past tense now. Murió en. Now don't forget the Spanish. Don't say 1980. They wouldn't say 1980. like we would, they say he died in 1980. I think the French do the same, don't they? Certainly do French. I think the French do the same. So they say he died in 1980. 1000 mil 900 980. So murió en 1980. 1980. In English, we often don't say he died. We often say, just soften it a bit, don't we? We say he passed away. They have the same in Spanish. The verb to pass is fallecer. So he passed away. Falleció en 1980. He passed away in 1980. It's a nicer way of saying that. So we've talked about casada, casado, estoy casado, in my case. How do you say I'm divorced? Well, divorciada, or if you're a man, divorciado. Straightforward. And I did want to just talk a little bit about family members. These are perfectly fine, but I don't know if anybody here would call their mother mother. We tend to have pet names, don't we? Mummy, mum, mam. If you're from north, mam, mammy. It's the same in Spanish. So papa is children generally call their dad papa and their mother mammy in Spanish. And a lot of the family member names get an eta added to them, which is like a diminutive. It's like saying little. So granddad, abuelo is fine. Having to say abuelito is extra complicated, little granddad. But it's a term of endearment, so they do it all the time. My daughter-in-law Lucia calls Aureliano mi hita, mi hito, mi hito, mi hito. It's hard to get your tongue around. Hijito, my little son. Mi hijita, my little daughter. They do it. I've hear that all the time. The Spanish love their itas and their hitos. So you will hear that in Spain. Tia, which is auntie, can be tiaita, which again is really hard to say. And certainly my Ecuadorian family don't tend to use that. They do have pet names for their aunties and uncles, but they tend to take the name and add a diminutive to that. So there's an aunt, Tia Margarita, and she gets called Margie. Or else they have nicknames. They have nicknames for everybody, and they tend to use their nicknames. It's just a way of, I think, expressing love and family ties. But it does happen all the time. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for diminutives and little pet names being added. Okay. So let's get on to these verbs. I know you all love a new verb. So we're doing two today. We're doing hacer and we're doing ir. And hacer, to do or to make. Now in English we have two separate verbs for that. We talk about making things and doing things. We use two different verbs. Spanish, they get by with one. I've put the present conjugations there, and I've also put the simple past tense, the preterite on there, because I think in conversation you'll find yourself all the time saying I did, we did, that kind of thing. So hago, haces, hace, hacemos, hacéis, hacen. And in the preterite, hice, hiciste, hizo, hicimos, hicisteis, hicieron. As before, don't try to sit down and learn these all at once, because it's really hard to do. Get your verb list and just spend 10 minutes a day at it, and or try to slot the verbs into sentences. Try and make little sentences with them. Ideally sentences that you'd use in common speech, and you can write these down and try and remember them, and that sort of puts it into context, makes it much easier to remember. The past participle of hacer is hecho, and the gerund, the present participle, is haciendo. They also use hacienda as a place where things are made. Typically, a farmstead is called hacienda in South America. I'm not sure about Spain, but hacienda is in common use in Latin America. So let's have a look at some examples. Ejemplos en español. In the present tense, todos los días hago las camas. I make the beds every day. You could also use hacer with falta. So hace falta means that you have lack of something. So you can use it to say I need or I've run out. I could say me hace falta leche. I've run out of milk. A Juan le hace falta un lápiz. John has lost his pencil or needs a pencil. You will hear that quite often. It's one of these little, it's one of the many Spanish phrases that doesn't make lots of sense translated directly into English, but the Spanish do use that quite often. Hace falta. In the infinitive, hacer is often used in the infinitive combined with other verbs. So, puede ayudarme a hacer una llamada. 3 verbs in there. Can you help me to make a phone call? Again, in the infinitive, tengo que hacer las camas. I have to make the beds. And past participle, you'll see this quite often inside your t-shirt. Hecho en China, made in China, hecho en China. The Spanish import as much stuff from China as we do. The present perfect tense, don't worry too much about this right now. You can use it quite a lot with hacer, and it's used where for something that's happened in the past, but maybe hasn't finished or may continue into the present. I have made a cake for your birthday. He hecho un pastel para tu cumpleaños. And again, ya lo he hecho. I've already done it, with a slight exclamation mark there in aspiration. Likewise, in the past tense, lo hice ayer. I did it yesterday. Stop nagging me. Hicimos el almuerzo el lunes. We made lunch on Monday. Ayer hice el almuerzo. I made lunch yesterday. So it's worth learning those preterites because they are useful when you want to talk about something that's you've done in the past. Yeah. So there are lots of other forms of the verb hacer, and I'm going to go through some of them now. There's a lot to learn around hacer, so don't expect to do it all at once. Give yourself some time to get into all these different meanings. We use the verb hacer to ask how long something has been happening for, and also to give an answer. So we can say hace que. When we want to ask how long something's been going on for, we can say cuánto tiempo hace que, followed by the verb you want to ask about in the present tense. So how long have you been studying Spanish would be cuánto tiempo hace que estudias español. How long have you been studying Spanish? And to answer, you need to say hace plus the length of time you've been doing it for, que, followed by the present tense again. So we've been studying Spanish for 6 weeks. Well, maybe it's 7 weeks now. Is it? We're on week 7, aren't we? So hace 6 or 7. Hace 6 semanas que estudio español. I've been studying Spanish for 6 weeks. So worth learning that. It's a useful little thing. If you go to the doctors and he wants to know how long your head's been hurting, you can tell him. We also use hacer to talk about the weather. So we English, we love to talk about the weather. Spanish aren't so keen on it, but I think there's so many English people in Spain right now that I think we've got them talking about the weather. So we would say in English, it's sunny. Está soleado. Soleado. The Spanish don't say that. They say it makes sun. Hace sol. Hace sol. So instead of saying it's sunny, hace sol, it makes sun. And the same for all of these. The weather is good. Hace buen tiempo. It's hot. Hace calor. It's cooler today. Hace más fresco hoy. Or it's cold. Hace frío hoy. Cold today. The weather is bad. Hace mal tiempo. It's sunny. Hace sol. It's windy. Hace viento. Viento, viento. It doesn't make a lot of difference to the Spanish. If we say V, they hear it as a B. And if we say B, they hear it as a B, BV. The sounds, there's not two different sounds. Of course, just to be awkward, there are exceptions. It's raining. They don't say hace lloviendo. They say está lloviendo. It's raining. And also anything to do with cloud, fog, or mist, is also está. So it's cloudy, foggy. Está nublado. And they also have a few. Caroline, you wanted to ask something. Caroline Ingram.
Yeah. Can we just go back to where it says you've been studying Spanish for 6 weeks, where it says hace 6 semanas? Is that not Argo? Argo. I have been. Argo 6 semanas.
No, it's one of those. It's to do with how the construction of it. I mean, what you're saying is it makes 6 weeks that I've been studying Spanish. I've studied Spanish.
Oh right, okay. Right.
So no, you don't use the I. I mean, if you wanted to say I have been, you'd have to say he hecho. But it's a phrase that's used frequently in Spanish. So you again, don't try and translate it directly. Just sort of learn the phrase and hear it, and you know what folk mean. So that's
okay. Thank you.
That's the way it's done. We have a saying, don't we, in English? It's raining cats and dogs. The Spanish have one. They say it's raining pictures. Pictures as in big jars that I suppose you fill a jar, enough to fill a jar. And they say, está lloviendo a cantaros. It's raining pictures. Use that if it's chucking it down. I don't know what the Spanish for chucking it down is. I don't know if they have an equivalent for that. And we say, I'm soaked. We say I'm soaked to the skin if we get caught in the rain. The Spanish, they go a step further. I'm wet to the bone. They say, estoy mojado hasta los huesos. I'm wet to the bone. So don't forget, we did tener last week. Don't forget to use the verb tener to say that you're hot or you're cold. So you might have hace sol, tengo calor. It's sunny, I'm hot. Hace viento, tengo frío. It's windy, I'm cold. So never use estar. If you say hace sol, estoy calor, it has a completely different meaning. It means I'm hot, in the sense that I've got the hots, or I'm a hot person. So don't use that unless you are, which might be the case. Who knows? Also, do remember the Spanish aren't quite as obsessed with the weather as English people are. So use the phrases sparingly. But there's no reason why you can't walk walk along the street and say, buenos dias, Franco. Hace sol esta mañana. It's sunny this morning. You could say that. That's a perfectly nice little chat. It's a very English greeting, but no reason why you can't say that. I think we should take it upon ourselves to educate the Spanish in chatting about the weather. It's a nice, easy little conversation to conversation starter. So there's lots to learn around hacer, and ir is another one of those verbs where we've got lots and lots of things to learn, quite apart from the various conjugations. And English is fairly straightforward. Just two conjugations in the present tense, goes and go. I go, he goes. Sorry, he goes, she goes, it goes. I go, you go, we go, they go. Just two to learn. And in the past tense, there's only one form of the verb, which is went. I went, she went, it went, you went, we went, they went. Spanish, of course, is far more complicated. There's a full set in both tenses. And ir is, it's obviously an IR verb. It's an irregular verb, and I think it's probably the most irregular verb in the Spanish language. Voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van. And in the preterite, fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fuisteis, fueron. The past participle is ido, and the present participle, the gerund, is yendo. So not a lot of connection between those. If you don't learn them, you'd never work them out. So it's worth going through those. So let's have a look at some examples. In the present tense, vamos al cine esta noche. We're going to the cinema tonight. Voy a la cama. I'm going to bed. How would you say, Giselle? How would you say I'm going to bed now?
Me voy a la cama ahora.
Yeah, bang on. Lovely. Karen H. I think we've only got one Karen, haven't we, anyway? Can you unmute, Karen? How would you say, I'm going to bed, good night?
Me voy a la cama, buenas tardes.
Oh, that's good.
No, buenas noches.
Yeah, buenas noches, yeah. Don't say me voy. Make sure that English E is a Spanish E. So it's me. Me voy a la cama. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Good. Perfect. How, Abigail, would you say I go to bed at 10?
Voy a la cama a las 10.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. And how would you say I go to bed at 10 every night?
Still me. Voy
Yeah.
a la cama a las 10 todas las noches.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. So in the infinitive, often again, ir is used in its infinitive form. ¿Quieres ir conmigo? Do you want to go with me? Podemos ir al supermercado el viernes? We can go to the supermarket on Friday. And in the present continuous tense, which isn't used a great deal in Spanish, estoy yendo ahora. I'm going now. That's used from time to time. The Spanish also use me voy, which means, it doesn't mean I'm going. They use it for I'm coming. So if somebody says, where are you? ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde estás? You might hear shouted, me voy, I'm coming. In the Present perfect, you may sort of, you know, hear he ido. I have gone. He ido allí muchas veces. I've gone there many times. In the past tense, fui a Grecia el año pasado. I went to Greece last year. Fuimos, we went. Fuimos a ver a mi tía ayer. We went to see my aunt yesterday. And, you know, also in questions, we're often asking people what they've done, where they've been, where did you go on a holiday? We would say, ¿a dónde fuiste de vacaciones? Where did you go on holiday? I've put, where did you go on holidays? We wouldn't say that. We'd say, where did you go on holidays? But the Spanish, there's no such thing as a vacación. It's always vacaciones. They always have holidays, not holiday. Past and future. Fuimos a esquiar en Francia. We went skiing in France. Y vamos a ir allí de nuevo en abril. And we're going to go there again in April. We're probably not, actually, depending on lockdowns and things like that. I think ski resorts are going to be out of action for a little while, sadly. So lots there here with here, and there's even more to come. So there is a future tense in Spanish. Every verb will have a future tense, and we may have to learn some of those. But just as we use to go in English to create the future tense, I'm going to go to the pub tonight. We can do exactly the same in Spanish, and it works most of the time when we want to create the future tense. You can use it most of the time, and it's perfectly good grammar. So to do it, you would use the appropriate conjugation of ir in the present tense, followed by the infinitive of the verb that you want to use in the future tense. So I will pay by card, or I'm going to pay by card. Voy a pagar con tarjeta. Voy, I am, to pay, pagar. Ir is almost always followed by a, because ir means to go, but you're generally going to go to something, or going to do something. So voy a, get used to the a after it. Vamos a ir de compras mañana. We're going to go shopping tomorrow. Ir de compras is one of those little Spanish phrases, means to go shopping. Ir de compras. Vas a estar aquí mañana por la noche? Are you going to be here tomorrow night? Don't know why I'm teaching you Spanish chat-up lines. And so it's as simple as that to create the future tense. So use ir as often as possible to create the future tense, and have a little practice. Have a little practice with those. Yep. So let's have a look at some words that mean each and every. These are useless little words. Useless, did I say? Useful, I meant to say. Useful words. So todos, or todas, if it's a feminine things you're talking about, can mean all or everyone. Todos los días, every day. If we want to say every night, todas las noches, every night. Todo el mundo, all the world. So todo, todos is everyone, each, and so on. If we want to say each one or each day, we use cada. So cada uno means each one. It can also mean everybody in a certain sense. Cada persona, again, can mean each one or everybody. Cada día, each day. There's a subtle difference between every day and each day, isn't there? I'm not really sure how to describe it, but there is a very, very subtle difference. And sometimes you might want to say every day, and sometimes you might want to say each day. Cada día, todos los días is how we work it. So I want to do a little bit more conversation. Now we started off with this last week, and I think we all found it quite tricky. Even those that have done this course before found it quite tricky. And there is a sort of rabbit in the headlights syndrome, where you have to think suddenly, listen, and then think and talk in Spanish rather than simply reading in Spanish. And the only way to get over this, to overcome this, is with practice. And if you haven't got somebody to speak Spanish with you, it's quite hard. Listening to Spanish on the television or on your computer, on the internet, and then talking back to yourself is one way of doing it, but it's much better if you've got somebody that you can practice with. So I'd encourage you all to practice your Spanish. 2 participants have raised their hand. Now, who's raised their hand? Who's got their hand up?
Maya.
Maya, yep.
Yeah. You know, when you were talking about my grandfather is dead, you said mi abuelo está
Muerto.
muerto. Can't it be S? Muerto.
Let's go back to that then. You can tell me. Yep. Mi abuelo está muerto. Yeah. So let's look at muerto first. There's two vowel sounds together there. The U is a U sound and the E is an E. So muerto, muerto. Mi abuelo está muerto. My grandfather is dead. So we talk. Yeah. I mean, it is an odd one, Maya. We use. We tend to think of estar for things like that aren't permanent. So estoy bien, I'm well. We use estar because I'm well today, but I might not be tomorrow. So how you're feeling is we use estar, but we also use it for states, the state of something. And we use ser for inherent characteristics. Being dead is a state, so it does seem a bit odd to say, you know, I am. He is dead. You wouldn't say I am dead, would you? But he is dead. We use estar, not ser. Yeah, it does seem funny. I quite agree. Absolutely agree. It does seem really funny, but we do. So that's yeah, and that's why. I mean, it does sound a bit weird. It's a state. Being dead is a state. Somebody else had their hand up. Who was that? Anybody? No. Maybe it was there from before. I think maybe I have to put your hand down. I don't know. Okay, so we were talking about having a little conversation in Spanish, and we were chatting as if at a party, and we were asking each other names, where we're from, where we live now. Do we speak Spanish? Do we speak any other languages? And I want to get us having a little conversation. So we're going to spend more time having conversations with each other in the weeks to come. And when we're talking, there are some phrases that we can use to get us out of trouble, or to give ourselves a bit of a chance. I'm notorious for saying what. My wife thinks I'm going deaf, which I think I am a little bit. Too many years riding a motorbike without earplugs, or going to nightclubs when I was younger, maybe. I'm paying for it now, but I'm going a little bit deaf. But I do say what a lot, and I often hear perfectly well what my wife has said, but I want to give myself a bit of thinking time. So I find myself saying what, rather than making her repeat it, rather than just saying, hang on, let me think, which is much less annoying. There are things there are things in Spanish that we can do exactly the same way. So help me out, phrases. If we just need a bit of a pause in a word, in a sentence rather, the Spanish will say bueno, 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 bueno. They might say it several times. I mean, bueno means good, but it can also mean well. Another word that means well is pues, and you may hear Spanish conversations where they're saying pues, pues, and then they've given themselves time to think, and they can go on and think. If you can hear a funny ringing, it's my doorbell. I think I've got a new BT hub arrived today to improve my internet access. They're putting my prices up, so they're giving me a new hub with a fancy name called Halo. I don't know if anybody's got BT Halo. If you see a big improvement in things next, if I'm talking a lot faster next week, it's because of my new hub.
Eric,
yeah,
Halo is used by special forces. It's parachutists. It stands for high altitude, low opening.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, is that what it's at? I didn't realize it was an acronym. High altitude, low opening. Right. Okay. Well, I think this one's been delivered not by special forces, but by Hermes, and I don't know whether it'll be high altitude or what, but it's supposed to mean I can get good internet access in every room on my money back. So help me out, phrases. Use pues. If you get stuck, don't go, oh, I don't know. Just say pues, bueno. And there are others that you can use. You can do my my old what trick. Lo siento, no te entendí. I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. Or I'm sorry, I don't understand. Put it in the present. Lo siento, no entiendo. No entiendo. No entiendo. I don't understand. And that would prompt the person to say it. You could often the speed that Spanish is delivered is a problem. Even when people aren't talking particularly quickly, when you don't understand it, it sounds quickly. It's like when I was a trainee reporter, we had to learn shorthand, and people seem to be talking really slowly. But then when you're trying to write down what they're saying, it sounds so fast. Your shorthand's struggling to keep up. So you get the same effect with Spanish. People say Spanish is a language that's spoken quite quickly, and it is one of the faster languages, but it's not the fastest. It's just that we don't understand it. But we can ask people to speak more slowly. You could say, más despacio, por favor. More slowly, please. Again, prompting the phrase to be repeated, but at a slower pace. Tell me again, please, or say it again, please. We're using the imperative tense here because we're telling somebody to do something. So tell is di, or say is di when it's in the imperative. And we can hook on a pronoun. When we're talking in the imperative, we can hook a pronoun on even though it's conjugated. So do you remember if we've got a verb, we have to put the pronoun ahead of a conjugated verb. So I want it would be lo quiero. But if I want to do it, if the verb is in the infinitive, we can hook the pronoun on the end. So we could say, quiero hacerlo. I want to do it. Lo quiero, I want it. Quiero hacerlo, I want to do it. When a verb is in the imperative, even though it's conjugated in the imperative, we can hook the pronoun at the end. So tell me would be dime, dime, dime de nuevo, por favor. Dime de nuevo, por favor. Tell me again, please, or dilo otra vez, por favor. Say it again. Say it again, please. You could put a lo siento in front of it. I'm sorry. Say it again, please. Or perdón, dilo otra vez, por favor. You can get yourself another crack at it, and they'll know your English, so they'll cut you a bit of slack. Two ways of saying again: de nuevo, otra vez. Perfectly good ways of saying the same thing. If you can't understand, lo siento, no entiendo. Sorry, I don't understand. Necesito ayuda, por favor. I need help, please. Or you could say, lo siento, no entiendo. Puedes ayudarme, por favor. Can you help me, please? So those are help me out phrases. So we're going to have a little chat. We're going to make 10 minutes each lesson to have a little chat in future, and you're all going to hate it, but don't have too high expectations. It takes a little while. My granddaughter speaks really good English and really good Spanish, and she loves to mix up her English words in her Spanish sentences and vice versa, and it's perfectly good. We understand exactly what she's saying. So I don't want to teach you to do that, but when you're starting off to learn Spanish, don't expect to get it straight away. It's a really strange thing to have Spanish spoken at you. The old brain, because our brains aren't used to it, we use different parts of our brain to listen, to translate, and then to speak. So we've got to send it from one bit to the other and back again. And it does take a little while. But by the end of this year, I want it to be second nature to you. or if not second nature, then not quite such a horrible shock when somebody speaks Spanish to you. So so we will do that. So homework this week is to learn those help me out phrases, practice with them so you can mix and match them so it sounds a little bit more natural. Put a couple of them together and crack on with those verbs. Now, at the end of the lesson notes, I added some 10 questions it was. So there are 10 sentences there to translate into Spanish. So if you have a crack at that for your homework as well, that'd be great. If you want me to look at them, mark them, then email them to me either in the body of the email or send me a Word attachment if that's easier for you. Doesn't make any difference. Let me have them on Saturday, and I won't mark them on Sunday. Actually, no, you can let me have them on Sunday because I'm down as a designated carer, so I've got 2 of my grandchildren on Saturday night, and Sunday they're coming for a sleepover, so I have no chance of doing any Spanish on Sunday. I'll have a look at it on Monday morning, but I will take a look at it and I will send them back to you. So so if you want them marked, let me have them by Sunday evening, and we'll do that. So we've overrun a bit, 7 minutes. Sorry about that. We can. We'll do those, and I'll see everybody next week. You're all on mute, so you can't say goodbye to me. Hopefully the reception was better this week, less interference.
It was.
Yes, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry for being late, Eric.
Oh, that's all right, Ian. Don't worry. It's fine.
Adios a todos.
I don't know where my email went. So
I don't know. It's there. Adios anyway.
Adios. Gracias.
Gracias.
Yeah, ciao. Nos vemos.
Adios.
See some of you this afternoon, of course.
Yeah. See you later.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Gracias,
An extra copy of this all.
De nada.